Officers Union are actually saying, hey, look, we can save lives if we have this in our car.
Right.
You know, or like as part of like an officer's duty kit, if you will.
Which is getting bigger and bigger, by the way. I mean, you look at these cops and they're just covered with little
stuff.
Yeah.
Little pockets here and there
all
filled
over.
to the brim.
Yeah.
But in Connecticut, and in 3 counties in Connecticut, and there hasn't been a complete actual like death toll calculated yet.
Yeah.
But there's been a spike, and it's called New World is the name of the heroin. And it's heroin spiked with fentanyl.
That fentanyl,
Same stuff that killed Philip Seymour Hoffman. And they're seeing it on the East Coast.
I thought they looked into his thing and there was no fentanyl cut in his.
I don't know that, but that was a headline.
That's what I said about 3 weeks ago, right?
Right, yeah,
right.
you were saying it wasn't cut with
It
fentanyl.
wasn't, although it has been in the news a lot more that this, these special little concoctions have been killing people.
The drug cocktail.
And it makes people kind of think, oh, well, it's dangerous. I want to try it.
You were here 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, maybe 4.
It's been that long.
I'm not sure. Do I have time for one more?
We were going to have another American
one
Idol
more.
I got one more.
chair.
I haven't had you do the news in so long. We're going to go over
No,
time.
you know what? I've got a couple more that I'll save this one for later. I'll do this little quick one. So the Mormon Church now?
Yeah.
Pushing back against the notion that members of the faith are taught that they'll get their own planet after they die.
Oh, well, there's probably good news.
It's a misconception,
There's good news in that respect that I could piggyback with your story. Go ahead.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So this is a newly posted article that affirms the faith's belief that humans can become like God in eternity, but explains that it's sort of like a cartoonish image of people getting their own planets to run.
Well, Pluto's open.
Yeah. Well, it's not a planet.
I would rather have a cartoon planet.
If you're not a really great
yeah.
Mormon,
Right.
you get Pluto.
Yeah, right.
There's nobody on Pluto.
Dibs
by the
on
way.
Saturn.
There you go.
NASA must
Got a track around it.
NASA must be
exercise.
owned by the Mormon Church because it just in the last several days, the Kepler that's out there, they discovered 750 planets.
Really?
That potentially every one of them could be Earth 2.0.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, is this the satellite that can detect like what's on the planet?
Yes.
Like yes. Obviously,
these are Goldilocks planets, basically.
Yes. Oh, I love that story.
Yes, but now they've discovered, the Kepler has discovered in the last few years 1,700 planets that just a few years ago we didn't know existed.
Yeah. Wow.
So, hey, Mormons. Mm-hmm. That's
There
all
you
I'm
go.
saying.
Get to dying.
Just saying.
Get a planet.
Get up
1,700
there.
planets.
Better hurry
No,
up.
And
it's
those
not,
are just the ones they
that's
found.
not the truth anymore.
Oh.
Next, they're going to
it's
say.
not the
Next,
truth.
the
Okay.
Muslims are going to say the whole 72 virgins things isn't happening either.
Better not be.
You
I
know?
converted just for that.
Just for that,
That was in my brochure, damn it.
I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting.
I thought
that they
religion
actually
was
have to-
off limits on this show.
But they actually have to come out and say, no, that's not real. It's, you're probably not going to get.
What
your
about
own
the Broadway
planet.
thing? Is that real?
On the book in the Book of Mormon?
Yeah, the Broadway show, the musical.
I don't think. Well, you know what? Actually, they say because of the Broadway musical, this misconception has been popularized.
Of course.
And it's another thing about the
People
polygamy.
believe what
They've
they
written.
want.
They say, okay, no, the polygamy thing isn't really real either. You're not allowed to have a bunch of wives.
I'm down with the planet thing, though, aren't you, Jay?
Heck yeah.
I like that. I
I'd
like
be
that.
out there gardening and
Sitting
stuff.
there in your lawn chair. This, my planet.
Popping
This
40s.
is my planet right here.
I dig it.
All right, so I'm thinking you get to one of those 1,700 planets, one of the Goldilocks planets. Turns out to be Earth 2.0. And they've done this scenario on TV shows and movies 100 times, it seems. So you're part of the expedition to go up there and populate the planet, right?
No problem.
So it's you and some other good-looking guys, and there's the one dumpy scientist guy, and then there's a whole bunch of beautiful ladies, and
Right.
and you're just like frolicking around your beautiful green planet with no clothes on, and it's time to fall asleep, and all the time there are these little beings under the rocks watching you and waiting for you to nod off, and you have no idea what's on that planet because they've been hiding.
I would do the lookout. So
Would
you
you?
draw straws, and somebody's got to look out. And
I think
keep
in
the
another
fire
life
going.
you were a mountain man
I think so.
in the new world with a nice rifle on your back and
Heck yeah.
waiting for something to jump
And
out of a tree.
harem. I would
harem.
want a harem.
Be fruitful and multiply.
We are going to repopulate.
Sports.
It's about time. Chris Martin.
Yeah, well, I was going to try to bring a close to the Olympics just because, well, this was last week.
Because they're over?
We got to talk to it, and because they're over. Is everybody proud of our country and how they did in the Olympics?
Well,
Came in second in the medal count.
Didn't win hockey.
We did not win hockey.
Men or women.
Yeah.
And you know who ended up winning out of that? Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper got 2 cases of beer from President Obama.
Do you know what kind of beer it was?
I don't. I should have looked deeper into it. And actually, I tried to, but couldn't find out. I think they keep it ambiguous because it's political figures.
But
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, he picked Budweiser and the president.
Right. I'm sure it's some, like, top-notch craft brew, or at least I'd like to think
I would
it
have
is.
sent
And
him
it's not like
some molten ice.
Yeah,
Just
natty.
some-
Natural ice.
yeah, I think.
Send him some Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Remember the
Red,
beer
white,
summit?
blue, fool!
Remember the beer summit when he was having beers with
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right?
Boehner?
Was it? It was craft, or was it like Michelob or something like that?
Well, I think one of the guys had like a Hefeweizen.
Yes.
But I think he was drinking something that was not American. Obama was.
What?
Am I wrong? I vaguely remember this.
Better be
Here
German
come the
beer.
conspiracies.
You know what? I think it was
Obama's
Red
not an
Stripe.
American.
It was Red
beer
Stripe.
drinker.
The Jamaican beer?
I think so.
Hooray, beer!
Speaking
Yeah.
of penalties, the NFL is in the process of instituting a 15-yard penalty for using the N-word now. If you're caught using the N-word on the field,
Wow.
you will get a 15-yard penalty.
You ever get anywhere near a field of play in any sport?
Oh, forget about it.
Yeah. How often that's
They use that
that's
word
fine?
in hockey, for Christ's sake.
No, they
Yeah.
don't. They don't. I'll tell you right now,
I'm
they
sure
don't.
there's a couple guys on the roster that
No,
do.
yeah,
They
I
use
don't
a
think
lot of
they
things-
use it in hockey.
They use a lot of Canadian ways of using the Lord's name in vain.
I feel like football may be the only sport where they use it because the cameras are so far away, it's hard to pick that up. Like even basketball, you can't really get away with it. But I was also thinking about how Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are going to have to clean up their act because
Yeah, right.
there's going to be a lot of penalties.
You know, I like the idea. I really do. Chris Bosh from the Miami Heat actually was asked about this the other day and says, hey, look, the NFL's thinking about this penalty. I'm a reporter. I sit next to the court all the time. You guys use this word a lot.
Right.
What do you think about it? He goes, hey, look, man, I'm in favor of the penalty. But it creates such a gray area right now. There needs, if you're going to do one word, you're going to have to do them all.
Right?
That's kind of the way he feels.
That's fair.
The other 7 dirty words.
No cussing. No, it will be any derogatory term because now they have to worry not only racial terms but homophobic slurs.
Right.
You know, you can't be using that anymore. You
Well,
know?
Kobe Bryant got hit for that, and who was the other basketball player too? They got for the gay slurs.
Oh, that's right. That was a couple
Kobe
years
Bryant
ago.
got fined big time for that.
I cannot remember that.
By the
Yeah,
way, it
it's
was
happened.
Bud Light. Obama was drinking
It
Bud
was
Light
Bud
at the
Light.
beer summit.
Well, that's American as it gets.
It's American.
So anyway, I
That's
like the
right.
idea, but I like what Chris Bosh said. It's like, hey, look, if you're going to put this rule on all of these, you know, hopped up athletes who are just playing out of their mind, you're going to have to put some real strict rules on every curse word.
Yeah.
And just clean up the sport a little bit. That I like.
I think the players are going to be more conscious about it from this. One last thing from the NFL, the Combine ended this weekend where all the college athletes get to try out and show their wares to the pros.
They got to run a 4-second 40, right? Is that what
Yeah,
they have to
nobody
do?
ran a 4-second 40. I don't think anybody ever has ran a 4-second
Are
40,
you
but there were
kidding
some
me?
good 40s. Some good 40 times.
Back in the day, Phil, you and I,
You drink a
Both
40
you guys busted the 4.
when I got the
and
presidential,
we could do it in 4 seconds.
I
By the
know.
time they hit the finish line, I'm down in a 40.
They used to give us a windbreaker and a patch if we could run a 7.550
right?
Yeah, there's nobody
in
running.
the 6th grade.
That's fantastic.
I got a patch and a windbreaker.
Yeah, Phil.
and a pin.
7.5.
Nobody goes over 5 seconds anymore, but and nothing really changed after doing the research on it. Nothing really changed. The big question is still whether or not Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M will be taken number 1 by the Texans. I mean, obviously it'll put a lot of people in the seats and be a huge revenue stream.
Or he could go to the Dallas Cowboys at number 16.
Yeah, but honestly, Tony Romo, Johnny Manziel, you're kind of 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other.
That's
there.
pretty good.
And real quick, the one other person that tried out and didn't have a great showing was Michael Sam. We've been talking about him because he's openly gay. He came out and he really underperformed.
He didn't do well?
He did not. No, he was not impressive at all. Matter of fact, he ran a 4.91 40, almost
Wow.
Dead last in his category of
I'll put it
defensive
to you this way.
ends.
I ran a 4.8 in college.
Right.
You did?
So,
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go.
That is fleet of foot.
Thank you.
so Jay
I like the
outran.
good
And this guy looks like he's in good shape, but apparently physically he's just not as gifted as other players. He's just sort of got a nose for the ball.
Is he completely overwhelmed by all the attention to something other than athletics?
That too. His mind's probably not fully on football right now. More to come, though. More to come.
All right, coming up, there are some exciting things. I mean, we're just moments away from something that may be I don't know what kind of a moment for me it's going to be, but something...
It's not going to be good.
No. We'll tell you about that in a second. But throughout the program today, I want to just drop a few things. Huffington Post published this today, and it's a nice list of things that... They're like WTF things that almost happened in Disney movies.
What's that stand for?
I don't know, but I'll give you a couple of ideas here, and we'll work them all in before the end of the program. Disney wanted the Spice Girls to sing I Won't Say I'm in Love in the Hercules movie, but thankfully it didn't work out due to scheduling difficulties. They didn't get the Spice Girls. The song Part of Your World from Little Mermaid?
How does that go?
My favorite.
Sing it.
How can I be part of your world?
Get out.
Yes, that's
Get
awesome.
out right
I
now. Out
did
the
not
door.
think it was possible for him to get better looking, but he's serenading. I just didn't think
Out
it was possible.
there where the people are.
Oh, my God, Chris,
Walking
shut
and
up,
dancing,
dude.
twirling, romancing.
Hey, guess what?
I need your man card.
I want to be where the...
And from now
Okay.
on, you're doing sports from, like, the flower garden. You can't be in here anymore.
Hey, I found out what kind of beer it is.
What? Bud Light.
No. That would be, to me, if I'm betting and I'm going to get a case of Bud Light.
what
I'm
kind of
gonna
beer
hope-
was it the Prime Minister bet?
What kind of beer President Obama sent the Canadian Prime Minister? White House Honey Porter.
White House Honey Porter.
Yes.
Honey Porter's
it's
delicious,
the
by
White
the way.
House's own craft brew.
Yeah.
Brewed with honey from Michelle Obama's own beehive.
Wow.
Wow.
Did you even know that she had a beehive?
Did I
got a
pay for the?
backside.
Did
I
I
know.
pay for the fermenting process?
Yeah,
I pay for it?
right?
Maybe.
Really? So that came from taxpayer
Now,
dollars?
listen,
dollars
this
at work.
is,
A lot.
this is something I didn't know. The White House quietly began experimenting, making its own beer during the president's first term, and shortly before the 2012 election, released its recipe in response to intense public demand.
I actually think that's kinda
there
cool.
is a
He's
White
got his own
House
bar.
But you know,
microbrew.
I think they need to come clean and explain what's in the hop tax.
Good one.
By the way, the whole thanks for singing.
You're welcome.
You destroyed
More to
the story, but the fact is that song that you memorized and
Right.
sing so well
Back to
almost got cut from the movie
which would have
because
been
they
a
tested it
terrible
with some
thing.
kids
Tragedy.
who found it to be boring,
Well, Chris wasn't singing.
but it was received well by adults, so it stayed in.
Oh,
Don't
well,
do that for him.
interesting.
Don't.
You know
Stop.
what?
He's encouraging.
Yeah, exactly.
I cannot help myself.
Don't encourage a man to sing Disney tunes.
It's funny. Come
That's
on,
not-
admit it. You liked it.
Can
Hey,
you
boss,
believe?
I'm going to be honest with you. We are not laughing with you. Just letting you know.
I was gonna say, come on, you can't shut this down. This is gold.
Can you believe here in Southern California, well, in California for that matter, we haven't had measurable rain
Right.
since like March of 2012. And we got close to an inch of rain today, and we're going to get like another 3 or 4 inches over the next couple of days.
Yeah, this is the wettest 24-hour period since 2011.
Ever since
October.
Jay got that ankle bracelet taken off, I worked with the authorities, and we slipped a little a wire on him. And the first thing he did when he got out this morning is we heard him say this.
Oh, my God. My car's wet.
What? Where did you get that?
That's the typical reaction in Los Angeles when it
true.
rains.
What do I do? There's drops of water all over it. Do I have to scrape it off before I drive?
I think my career has just taken another jump.
Has it?
Yeah.
Last week I made the headline. This week
Yes.
I'm on a soundboard button.
That's right. I have a
Wow.
soundboard with 4 or 5 J's on here.
I
Wow.
love it.
What else you got?
Well, some that will come true a little later. In fact, I'm not sure I'm going to play them until our first guest arrives. But
Oh.
to set up the conversation with our first guest, back episode 19, Jen, when you were out covering a
The
forest fire somewhere,
yes.
a
Yes.
wildfire, and you checked in with us.
I did.
But
from
it
the
was
fire
it was
lines.
pretty much just a guy show. It was
Yeah.
me and Jay and Chris from time
was
to time.
nice.
When Chris was not busy singing, he would he would chime in on the guy conversations.
Yeah, not so many conversations about Jen and whatever, how special she is. Oh, I'm sorry, what?
So anyway,
what?
Jen, you weren't here to reel us in, and all of a sudden, Jay had this story about birds, about parrots, and it reminded me of a couple of bird stories.
Yes.
And I told a story that